We are live. Please go ahead. We are live. Please go ahead, sir. Ma'am. Mama.
Okay, Mr. Surana.
Yeah, we are going. Yeah. So, yeah, good morning, everybody. This is Uma Nair here from Regional Director from ASSOCHAM Southern Region. I welcome you all for the ASSOCHAM Southern Region webinar on Future of Automobiles, a roadmap to develop EV market to boost economy. During pandemic, this particular sector is taken the backseat. To deliberate on how to take it forward and work out the complete roadmap and action plan, this particular webinar is being conducted. And this particular program is, in fact, the knowledge partner is Surana and Surana. And I would like to thank our Honorable Southern Region Co-Chairman, Dr. Vinod Surana, who took the initiative, who's played a very important role. He's in fact the brainchild for conducting this particular webinar. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So I will not take much of my time because we already started pretty late. So to start off with the first session, I would like to welcome Shri K. Venkatraj, who's the Deputy Director General, SAE India, to do the theme address. So before he start up the theme address, I would take an opportunity to introduce Mr. Venkatraj. Mr. Venkatraj is the Deputy Director General of SAE India, fondly known as Venki. He's an accomplished IT sales and business development professional with 29 years of experience. He has started his career as CAD and CAM technical engineer and moved on to PLM sales professional in NIT, TCS and IBM. He has served the American and Middle East market for almost a decade in different territories. Business developer profile for IBM. During his IBM tenure, he has built a relationship with BlackBerry, Waldorf Astoria, South Bhagwan Group, Ashok Leyland, HAL and ADA, and other leading automotive aerospace. IT giant Venki has been associated with SAE India as a volunteer for 12 years before moving to SAE India as Deputy Director General in September 2016. In his current role, he works with the leading mobility organization in India, both auto and aero, to implement the strategies developed by SAE India's managing committee. The top decision-making body of the society, he is a proactive leader and planner with expertise in strategic planning, market plan execution, account management, and pre-sale effort with skills in staffing and targeted market. So it's over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Uma Nair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and respected industry secretaries, industry commissioners of southern states, and Dr. Surana and ASSOCHAM members. Before we proceed further, can I request Suvin to give me the presenter rights so that I can present a few slides?
Sir, I've already shared the presenter rights to you. You can go ahead and share the screen, sir.
Okay, the share option is grayed out. So my suggestion is I have sent it to Uma Nair, Deepak and Nikhil. Can somebody put it up?
Okay. Sure, sir. Let me just give the presenter rights to Manaya. Hi, Uma. I have provided you the presenter rights. Can you please check and share the screen, please?
Just receiving the email.
Yes, please.
Okay. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a very different year. The 2020 has actually pressed the reset button for many sectors, not only for automotive. So 2020 indeed was a reset, recast year as much for the other industries as for the electric vehicle industry. It recast technologies and gave us new entrants and is India Inc. ready for electrifying electric vehicle industry yet? There is a mixed response. So in another 20 minutes, what I'm trying to cover is from the technology perspective, where are we going as far as electric vehicle market is concerned? Are you sharing the presentation, Uma?
Sir, in a minute, I'll share the screen, sir. Give me a minute, sir, please. We're very sorry for the inconvenience.
That's okay. That's okay. It happens. We're all in the digital world, so it's okay. Meanwhile, keep talking. Electric motor and electric vehicle, contrary to the perception, is not new. In 1800s, a series of breakthroughs from battery to electric motor led to the first electric vehicle. Yes, 1800s. It all started from the Scottish inventor Robert Anderson, who invented the first crude electric carriage. You may not accept that as electric vehicle by today's standards. Very true. It was bulky. It was just moving at a very low speed. And 1835, the invention moved to America. Thomas Davenport was credited with building the first practical electrical vehicle. Very small locomotive which has moved certain small load to certain distance. And that's about it. And then the whole thing came back to Toyota Prius, which sold 18,000 numbers in the very first introduction. And coming to India, can anyone guess what is the first electric vehicle? It came from a very modest, unannounced manner, Vikram Safa in 1996 by Scooters India. Yes, Vikram Safa was a name to remember, the first electric three-wheeler launched in India. And then the first electric bus from our own Chennai, Ashok Leyland, named as Circuit, the very first electric bus. So let me just check if the presentation is on. Okay, so I'm going to go without a presentation. I will just read out and then I can circulate it later. India has over 50 OEMs, 15 in passenger vehicle and 13 and odd in two-wheeler and 7 three-wheeler companies, 12 commercial vehicle companies and 17 tractor companies, not in electric vehicle, but generally in automotive industry. And if you look at the number of manufacturing units, it actually exceeds over 120 if you put everything together. So that is the size of automotive market or automotive presence in India. So Indian automobile industry is currently the 5th largest and set to take over as the 3rd by some estimation by 2030. Hopefully no more corona or any other variants of corona which delays the growth. So about 50 OEMs, 100 plants, and are we really ready for electric vehicle market as yet? I wanted to take this opportunity to divide the talk into 4 parts. In the first 5 minutes, I'll talk about the market composition, the electric EV market and EV potential. And the next 5 minutes, we'll talk about the technology, ICE versus electric vehicle and the need for skilling. And the third 5 minutes, we'll talk about the recommendations to the southern states and industry commissioners. Finally, I have a few suggestions to make or the roadmap for electric vehicle. So when you talk of electric vehicle market, we keep juggling with a lot of terms: e-motors, academia, prototype, charging infrastructure, challenges, startups, battery, fuel cells, and the very new word is the recession. So where are we heading really? The electric vehicle component industry is about 36,000 crores, or if you want a smaller number to remember, $4.8 billion. And this is by Frost & Sullivan by 2025. And ladies and gentlemen, I am aware that we have several ASSOCHAM members who are in the SME, MSME, and tier 2, tier 3 categories. So you're all looking for what is going to happen to the traditional ICE. So the first thing, the EV component industry is classified into 4 major components sectors. Electric motors, which is about $1.23 billion, and batteries, which is about $1.86 billion, power electronics, which is about 1.47, and the charging stations, which is much lesser, which is about 0.230, I would say. Oh, good. So you're able to see the screen. May I move on to the next slide? So when you can help me, yeah, this we covered. The next one, please. Yeah, so this is where we are manufacturing motors is not a new area for India, especially for South India. We've been doing it successfully for 100 years. You take our own Coimbatore or our own Vijayawada or Mysore, we have got enough expertise from the electric motors perspective. It is a question of putting together an electric vehicle. And then on batteries, world over, the research phase is on. We are no different. And there is a lot of papers written and technical information is being shared. So as per the world, we are also in the growing or growth area. Power electronics, we have, especially South India has enough expertise. One is number of engineering institutions. India has 3,300 engineering institutions, out of which almost 35% is in the 4 states put together. Charging station is an emerging area and which is not a technological marvel, I would say. It is an easy play in my opinion, but it's totally a green field. We have the wherewithal or the network. If you look at the petrol pumps, or if you look at the government offices, if you look at the public schools, we've got the network dotted across state highways, national highways, and interior India. So we should be able to set it up. Has it been set up so far? The answer is no. We'll move on to the next slide, Suvin. So we talked about the 36,000 crores as a component market for electric vehicle. And what is the composition? There are 2 kinds of composition we can give. One is the 2-wheeler, which includes scooters and bikes and everything, anything which has 2 wheels. 3-wheelers, which includes the golf carts, the passenger autos, the cargo vehicles from 0.85 to 2 tonnage category. Then we have 4-wheelers, all passenger cars, and the light commercial vehicle, the HCVs, the trucks and buses. So the other category is the technology category. Battery, of course, forms a complete integral part of EV, everyone knows. And then the electric motor and a lot of power electronics and charging stations. Next one, please. We talked about 36,000 crores. We saw what are the component, what are the classifications. Now we will see where are we going, the roadmap. There are predictions by the 4 big 4s, KPMGs and Deloitte's and Frost & Sullivan's and whatnot. It always says the same thing. The 3-wheeler category, both passenger and truck, will take the lion's share in 2025 or 2030 or whatever projections. So The near future possibilities are faster introduction of electric vehicle or electrification in three-wheeler segment, and then followed by the two-wheeler. Then you have trucks and buses and cars. Cars will possibly take it easy, take it last. The fleet operators may take the bigger share. The passenger cars will come slowly after they get to know there is an established network in their cities. For example, if it is available only in Bangalore and not in Chennai, or less in Chennai, then the business crowd which is moving from these two cities will think twice before they go electric. Next one, please. I wanted to stress some time here on the technology. What you see on the top is the product life cycle of any product, which should not be new to the members of ASSOCHAM. Whether you are into powertrain or brakes or engines or motors or any other component of automotive industry, we follow the same process. We take a concept, we rely on research, do the analysis, product development cycle, the entire development of the product or the component, and then we do the launch. So underneath what you see is very, very tiny letters, but the market is big. That is because of technology. Sorry about that. Under research, what I have given is the government and regulatory agencies. We work with ARAI, which is India's premier homologation or certification agency, or ICAT for North, and then GARC in Chennai, Global Automotive Research Center, which is part of the NATRIP project in Varagadam. So they take the lead, and without any ado, I can say institutions have taken big lead over the research of electric vehicle. All the IITs, especially IIT Madras, is the pioneer in setting up electric vehicle lab, College of Engineering Pune, and many others. So it is happening in pockets in many of the southern states. And then I wanted to cover the entire EV manufacturing belt. It has several components. In the coming slides, we shall tell you what is the difference between ICE and EV. But as of now, for this slide, you can grasp that it is no different. As long as you know the technology of electric motors and something electric and something about battery, I think that will do. We can do a little tweaking, little reskilling, and little more investment. It's not a brand new path you have to walk. If you have driven a car, this is going to be little easy. I'm sure the speakers like Sri Varun Chaturvedi and Aditya Nagarajan, they'll be able to get into the nitty-gritties or take a deep dive into each of these components. But for now, I wanted to state that it may not be very difficult for ASSOCHAM members or customers to switch, take a leap from the traditional internal combustion engine to electric vehicle. So the charging infrastructure has its own challenges, the logistics, as well as the current availability, the land availability. People are thinking of leasing model. People are thinking of various incentives to set it up. But again, from the strategic perspective, I really don't think that is a bigger challenge to get on. The analogy I wanted to derive, ladies and gentlemen, is the mobile phone. When the mobile phone was introduced in India, to get a missed call, you pay 8 rupees or 10 rupees. I used to live in that era. Now, the calls are free. And there was an era of ISD and STD and all that. So we will take a gradual path, but it isn't very difficult. We will get a regulatory authority, we will get the research, we will get consortium, and we will walk that path. Next slide, please. This is a very famous slide. You will feel extremely comfortable. This is nothing new put together by ACMA, but for a mechanical engineer or an automobile engineer, this is absolutely nothing new. So if you look at, you are part of automobile engineering, then this is what you've been doing. You basically divide the whole automobile into the 7 pillars. If you want to produce or design or maintain or supply, if you are in any part of the value chain of traditional ICE, the auto components is divided into the 7 pillars: engine parts, drive transmission, body and chassis, suspension, equipment, electrical parts, and everything else put together. There are various classifications available, but this is generally accepted, and there are 781 companies with whom you work as ASSOCHAM. This is what has been accepted by Automobile Component Manufacturers Association. Next slide, please. So we saw the market is 36,000 crores. We also saw the classification. Are we ready yet? We are ready in pockets. Is research available? Yes. And then we saw the 7 pillars of auto components value chain. Now to move from auto component to electric vehicle, for example, I'm a 10 crore company doing only the brake pedals, or I'm a 50 crore company doing something in electric motor, or I'm a 40 crore company doing something in powertrain. So can I move without too much of disruption into electric vehicle? The good news is yes, it is possible. There are challenges, but it is definitely possible. This slide basically shows all the components of hybrid and electric vehicle value chain. There are a lot of things. What you see on your left is the hybrid electric vehicle, HEV. What you see on your right is a complete unadulterated electric vehicle. So where you will not have the IC engine component, but other than that, you will have batteries, transmissions, motors, base vehicle, and all those things. Next one, please. So this is the shift from IC engine to electric vehicle. This should be nothing new for the experts who are sitting in the panel, but this is for the benefit of the ASSOCHAM members. We started off with the ladder frame, monocoque, and then modular. If you're talking electric vehicle, it's all about skateboard. This is the major assembly line difference. The components will vary. I'll come to that very quickly, but this is the major difference from the ladder to the skateboard, from the ladder to the skateboard. So skateboard is the key. Next one, please. I would like to take a pause, deep breath, and then stress the importance of skilling, the need for upskilling or reskilling in the SME and MSME area. Dear members of ASSOCHAM, any skilling goes through the 70-20-10 formula. 70 is all about the core theme of the business, and then 20% is tweaking. I already know some of it, but I wanted to add 2 more chapters or 2 more paragraphs, or I wanted to add 1 more module, that kind of a thing. And then 10 is generally the management, not the core. It is managing the peripheries. So let us see the 70-20-10 of reskilling for the MSMEs in the electric vehicle area. So there are institutions available in the country who is doing in pockets. SA India, one of them, and Automotive Skill Development Association with its MOU with other people, CII chapters. And on the other hand, if you look at the other side, there are private technical training institutions or consulting firms who does this in very, very small packets. But the talent is available. So what is that we need to focus on? We need to focus on fundamentals or production capabilities of electric motors, batteries, power electronics, and charging stations technology. I will leave the charging station for a moment, but we should focus more and more on the battery management system, power electronics, and electric motors. In fact, I will also leave alone electric motors, knowing the legacy of Southern India. We are known for electric motors for several decades. And then the second thing is on the production management, vehicle integration, subassembly, or the testing and certification of electric vehicle. Testing and certification is a very new area for everybody, including the government agencies who are going to certify your product. But other than that, other areas, it's a question of getting additional information. There are relatively few courses available. There are centers of excellence, but it has to be increased. Now, as a member, as a customer, what is my takeaway from this seminar is that one thing is EV is going to stay. Though it's coming slowly, it's going to stay. So it is essential that you spend some of your capital, some of your time to reskill your engineers or reorient your company strategy towards EV. I think that's coming, that's going to stay. That is the message. And the last one is, I'll leave it to you, ASSOCHAM, ACMA, MSME, and many others are doing time to time programs, how to manage, how to do supply chain, how to fix the logistic issues. So I'll leave it at that. Next one, please. Okay, this looks to be a complex chart, but not so. This is again aimed at the ASSOCHAM members, the panelists. You can pardon me because this is something very, very known to all of you. But for the customer, I would like to take two views of the customer. For ASSOCHAM person who is attending this, the customer is the R&D center, or it could be a market research firm, or it could be OEM and tier 1, tier 2, or it could be a car supplier, LCV supplier, or LCV manufacturers, or two-wheeler. So that is one way of looking at it. The other way is assuming that you are producing an electric vehicle, either part or in full, then your customers are cab aggregators and fleet owners, corporate and public bus operators, transportation services, starting from Omni services to large corporates which operates hundreds and hundreds of buses to transport their employees and crisscrossing the city. So they're all target customers for you. The public transport and bus will come a little late because it has to be proven and it is through tender, etc. So coming to technology, I think we've got to go through these three speed breakers or the mind barriers. I would call it as a CRC. You can add infrastructure to that because India is unique. The cost issue or cost barrier, and then the range barrier, and then the charging time barrier. You want to call it as barrier, that's okay. Or you want to call it as a challenge you wanted to overcome. In whatever way you want to call, ladies and gentlemen, the CRC is associated with EV. The cost, range, and charging time is something which you have to figure out. You have to break these barriers to be successful in the electric vehicle area. You can add infrastructure because this is more towards the policy makers or the strategic thinkers like the industry commissioners and industry secretaries who are present in this conference. But as a customer, cost, range, charging time is something which you have to figure out and how you can manufacture. What is cost barrier? You can have a fantastic product, but if it costs 25 lakh rupees for auto rickshaw, there'll be no takers, right? And you can have a fantastic cost effective 5 lakh auto rickshaw, but the range is only 17 kilometers. And if you have to go to Mahindra World City from Guindy, you have to charge 3 times, no takers. It may not be successful. Charging time, for example, every 1 kilometer I cannot afford to charge, not even every 50 kilometers. So if I charge, I should be able to go probably to Chennai, to Pondicherry, and then charge again and come back. This is possibly acceptable for many of the customers. Who are the customers? The cab aggregators, fleet operators, corporate bus owners, and the small ton from 0.85 ton to 2 ton. Now, coming to finance, this is not much to do with the ASSOCHAM clients, but it is more for strategic thinkers. We need to think of a special finance vehicle or NBFCs which can fund the electric vehicle pipeline, the suppliers. There are other methods like capital markets and then investors, for example, Titan, which is a state and private public partnership example. Something like that can also be thought of. And on the product design is exclusively for all the manufacturers or the component manufacturers of ASSOCHAM. I'm watching the time. I think I'm possibly exceeding. Next one, please. Okay, I have 2 more slides, so I'm going to be finishing it very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, my take on the roadmap to develop EV market to boost economy can be rolled up into 5. From the strategic perspective, my recommendation or suggestions to the industry commissioners or industry secretaries or ASSOCHAM is bank or finance vehicles to fund EVs. We need to think of a radical thinking that EV bank or something like that, which will only fund the EV related research, startups, innovation centers, COEs, and whatnot, and the production centers. This is something which is not impossible, I would say. We have done it in railways, we have done it in shipping, we have done it in many other sectors like chemical. Why not in EV? The next one is the universities to bring in PG courses. Again, this is something within our hand, within our limits. Anna University, for example, which has 562 colleges under its belt, Visvesvaraya Technical University, VTU in Karnataka, has over 300. So if we target premier technical universities like this, and then if some of the universities or a few come up with a postgraduate and engineering course, then it is possible. If something can be done by a private party, you know what I'm talking about, why not the government entities and academia? Should be possible. I recommend this. The third recommendation is the EV knowledge parks. You know, you go to Tirupur, you have apparel park. You go to Bangalore, you have IT parks. You know, you go to Kerala, you get something on fisheries. You go to Karnataka, you get something on sericulture. Why not on EV knowledge park? Put all these people together, then we can do it. In Bangalore, the 10,000 startup initiative by NASSCOM is taken shape and doing well in the IT, software, networking, knowledge area. I would recommend a replication of this. For example, the ADAT in Tamil Nadu, the aerospace corridor, seems to be working well, and we've attracted a lot of people here. So something similar can happen in Telangana and Karnataka, and we can identify component corridors and devise the logistics. So, and then technology consortiums. we could do technology consortiums also. So I'm finishing another 2 minutes. Next one. This is my final slide, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to leave. There's 4 key takeaways. Focus on scooters and three-wheelers, and then focus on increasing EV sales and support top 10 cities, and develop southern states as a base for making charging infra, EV motors and battery management system. It could be EV cradle for India. And then finally, charging infrastructure for the top 10 cities. I'm going to stop here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and leave it to the other panelists to take over. Over to you, Sunita. Suvin Narayan.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful presentation. Also, input like way forward. What should be the plan for EV? It was a very I think it was a very brief presentation. Also, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. And now let's go to the next session. The keynote by Mr. Sujay Karmapuri, who's the Director, Electronics and IT and IT and EC Department, Government of Telangana. He is also the Managing Director for Telangana Fiber Grid Corporation and CEO of T-Works. He has been working with the Government of Telangana for over than 3 years now. And prior to that, Jay was the CEO and founder of Shloka Telecom Bangalore for over 10 years. Sir, it is over to you. So before that, I would like to take a few minutes of your time. You could see that Government of Telangana is aimed to have EV sales target for 2025 to achieve 80%. Two and three-wheeler motorcycle, 70% of the commercial cars, 40% buses and 30% private cars, 50% of electrification of all vehicles, and to create jobs for 20,000 workers by 2025 through EVs. In shared mobility, charging infrastructure development, and EV manufacturing activities. So we would like to know, sir, like what are the plans of state of Telangana towards promoting the EV in the state? So it's over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm not sure if you have my presentation with you. Do you have it?
No, sir, we don't have it. If you can, I can give the share access. Subin, can you give the share access to sir,
okay.
please?
I think it's okay. I'll just speak about what Telangana is doing right now.
Yeah.
So, as a state, we are looking at electric vehicles as a very great opportunity for of course, for the country and for the economy. And in this respect, we have created our EV policy, and which we have recently released it as a part of a government order after a cabinet approval. So what we have done is that we have looked at this in a little step-by-step manner rather than come up with a vision for the next 10 years. Of course, the vision is for the next 10 years, but we didn't have a clear idea on how the strategy should unfold. So what we have done is we have created a very working document. So in the first set, we have given incentives to a few number of electric vehicles. So for example, 2 lakh, two-wheelers. So compared to few other states, it might be on the lower side. But our idea is if the first 2 lakh two-wheelers get adopted into the state, what we will see is we will see a change in the attitudes of the people, the bureaucracy, and the government, and we might be in a position to extend it further and increase the the cap limits at a later point of time. So right now, the subsidy is in the sense that we will give incentives as a tax exemption, road tax exemption, the life tax exemption to the two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, and the buses, but capped at different number of basically I'll read it out from my document so that I'm I'm not saying something which is different from what we have laid out. Just give me a second. So what we have done is we have given tax exemption and the registration fee exemption to the first 200,000 vehicles, two-wheelers, 100%. And then auto rickshaws, first 20,000, and also 15% reimbursement on retrofitment for the auto rickshaws, up to 15,000 rupees for the first 5,000. And for four-wheelers, we started off with 5,000 first for 5,000 cars. And then light good carriers also first 10,000. And private cars, so we divided into private cars and also like the cab operators. For private cars, also the first 5,000. And for the buses also, we have a set of incentives, including for tractors also. I think we were told that we were one of the first guys to say that for the tractors. So this is on the the subsidies for the people who buy and who purchase. This is in addition to the FAME 2 incentive that they receive from the central government. And then what we have done is also we have used this opportunity to create, supply side also certain incentives. So we have taken the current electronic policy of the state and extended it to electric vehicles, wherein we are giving about capital subsidy incentive for anybody who sets up EV or EV related manufacturing. So it could be electric vehicle manufacturing or assembly itself, or the components and ancillaries related to electric vehicles, or it could be electric vehicle charging infrastructure, and so on. So in this, we are giving 20% of the capital investment subsidy up to 30 crores, SGST reimbursement, 100% reimbursement for the first 7 years, and power tariff discounts also, and different for manufacturing and also for charging infrastructure, electricity duty exemption and interest subvention, transport subsidy, and so on. So I think after the policy was announced, we already have a lot of interest. There are two major bus manufacturing companies setting up their plants in Telangana, near and around Hyderabad. Each one, investing around approximately around 1,000 crores each. And then we also have the first lithium-ion cell manufacturing coming up in Telangana, starting with 1 gigawatt capacity and then going up to 5 gigawatt capacity. And there are two more companies who are also in the similar field. One of them is a charging infrastructure company investing in Telangana. So we have about, I think the first day when we announced the policy, we already have interest from 5 or 6 companies, totaling around 3,500 crores of investment. So we are taking care of those things. Now, in addition to this, what we've done is we have created a steering committee to take care of the policy implementation for the next 10 years or so. So the steering committee is headed by us in the IT&C department, but the members are various secretaries and various directors from different, in certain cases, commissioners and so on, from departments such as MAUD, Municipal Administration, Urban Development, and then there is Junta, which is taking care of the metropolitan transport. Then we also have various energy related companies. One is the TS Redco, which takes care of alternate energies, and then two of our discoms, and then even including police, TSRTC, which is RTC, and so on. So this steering committee is enforcing all the departments to come up with operational guidelines, and also so that we work in cohesion, so that if certain incentives are led by, for example, transport department, they should be in tune with the incentives led by the metropolitan body. And we are also looking at coming up. We have already drafted the necessary guidelines and the policies for issuing guidelines for various apartments, for various government offices and urban authorities to allow for installation of the charging infrastructure. And now we are working with the electricity department to lower the tariffs for the electric charging stations. And also, we are actually looking at a radical thought of converting some of our even electric poles and other things into easy charging stations also across the city. And we are also giving guidelines on which of the government bodies and which of the parking spaces can be converted into charging spaces for the electric vehicles. And we are already operating about 50 electric buses by the state department from the city to the airport. And we use this experience to convert some of the issues faced by the RTC Road Transport Corporation to create certain guidelines and also certain incentives for the road transport RTC to incentivize them to buy more and more electric buses. So this is what we are doing at this point of time. And right now we are up for business, and the transport department, I think, should be issuing the guidelines in about a week or so, wherein the registration fee and the road tax and other lifetime tax is waived off, and we will start seeing some of these vehicles on the road. Right now, there are some electric vehicles, but this is like pre-policy incentives and pre-policy measures. But I think once the policy gets kicked in, I think we will see a large proliferation of electric vehicle adoption. So coming to the parks, as we said, we have dedicated about a 1,500 acre park for electric vehicle and associated technologies. And we have created a 500 acre park only for the lithium ion battery and charging infrastructure. And we are already seeing investments in that direction. And we also have a mobility cluster with a few companies like Hyundai and Fiat Chrysler companies to allow for research development and associated activities. And then we also have T-Works, which is India's largest prototyping facility, which is already working on various technologies. We have signed an MOU with ARAI recently, and we are in talks with ICAD and other organizations, and we are coming up with few initiatives there as well. For example, with ARAI, we are converting their patents into products. For example, they have a few patents on charging infrastructure and swappable batteries and some, other, chassis and other trains on the vehicles. So we are converting each of those their works that they have done, some of the intellectual property that they have created, to convert it into products at T-Works, which is India's largest prototyping facility, with a bay and with a vertical, especially catering to electric vehicles. In addition, we are working with various technology companies, part of the ecosystem, such as Hyundai or ZF Automotive, and Micron, and Fiat Chrysler, and Mahindra, and few other companies, to work on various electric vehicle related technologies at T-Works. So that's pretty much from the state of Telangana. According to our vision, we want to become the most electrified state in the country through various policy measures. And I don't know if you know this, but we are already energy surplus as a state in terms of our ability to produce energy for our own requirement and maybe even for selling it to other states. So we want to use this opportunity to convert this into a possibly one of the most electrified states in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. In fact, I would like to welcome Mr. R.K. Mishra, who's a founder director, Center for Smart Cities, and also the incoming co-chairman for ASSOCHAM Karnataka Council. He has a question to be put on to you. It's up to Mr. Mishra.
I mean, not exactly the question. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Sujay and the state of Telangana. Very, very progressive policies. I was actively involved in formulation of the Government of Karnataka EV policy. That was in 2017, I think, one of the first. I have some observations, and I also, having seen from policy to pilot and pilot to the proliferation, it's a journey. And I think the governments usually I think, have been very proactive, especially states like Telangana, where decision making is pretty quick. You also are quite compact state and with a very large metropolitan area. So a lot of experimentation is also possible. So I think you could be a key state, and I'm involved with a little bit at the Niti Aayog as well. You could be a key state in South India, potentially to lead this. So I have a few suggestions on that,
Sure.
how this potentially can, from policy to pilot, and it has to be at scale. So first of all, my suggestion would be, and I've been talking to wherever forums I get the opportunity, um, individual purchase of vehicles is an organic thing. It will take its own time. I mean, if I have a Bajaj, Splendor or whatever bike today, I'm not going to simply leave that bike and go and buy an electric bike of any size. And good bikes are expensive, correct? Performance bikes, they call Ather and or the likes. So I'm not going to just dump my motorcycle today till it runs its life. And then again, I'm going to compare, because a very cost-sensitive market, despite all the subsidies and all that. And subsidies, China did it at a very different level and at a very different time. And their cost of production is very, very low. So there it happened organically. In case of India, I think it will be fleet operators who will lead the revolution of electric, not the individual user. Of course, early variants of Mahindra and all that cars were the range issues and the cost did not take off. The new ones, MGs and Nexons and all have come. But then again, there government need to do very little, because those cars usually will be used at the current stage for city commute, and city commute charging will be at home. So the government's priority of creating huge number of charging stations in the city where somebody will put their car for 2 hours and get charged is actually impractical. It's not going to lead to anything. I mean, if I have to at all, I'll have some charging station in my office complex where I park my car for the day, and there it will be charged, which is a private domain mostly for your, Gachibowli and all those areas where you have tech parks. I think what government should focus on, for example, Karnataka, we did that 50,000. So government of Karnataka and Bangalore is not giving any more licenses for auto. No more auto licenses are being given. But if it is electric auto, 50,000 licenses were given. Just for the new licenses. And this retrofit and all is all fine. But I'll tell you, you said up to 15,000 and some percentage and all that. There's a lot of hanky-panky there. So there, just doing the bureaucratic process itself will tire you down. So far, autos were not well made. But if you push, talk to the manufacturers and you say, okay, fine. In Hyderabad, in next 5 years, we will have only electric auto. And that's something which you control through permit. And I believe you do in Hyderabad as well. So there you can immediately bring that, and they will need your public infrastructure because they won't have the space in their house or the capacity to charge. So that's one request. Second, of course, buses you are doing, and there is a FAME and all that. Second will be, please encourage public bike sharing. Public bike sharing essentially, first, and now that you have metro also you have. First and last mile connectivity, metro usability, for example, DMRC has realized that despite 350 kilometers of metro, their usage is very low. It's 9,000 PCUH at the peak. Hong Kong has 18,000, Tokyo has 25,000. So metro is not being used to full capacity, and so is the case with Hyderabad. Though it is a PPP, if they make losses, metro won't run. So first and last mile connectivity you can give to, for example, likes of, there are companies who are running these public bike sharing operations, correct? And there they can buy, and high speed is not required because those are small distances. So low speed, swappable battery, public bike sharing. Bangalore has around 10,000 of these bikes already running. Delhi has it, Hyderabad still doesn't have it. Promote that. So when people see this 10, 20, 50,000 vehicles running around the city and they get used to it, and they are low cost, low speed, don't require license, ICAT has already certified, and there is a GSTR notification from Government of India, no helmet, no license, up to 25 kilometer and below 1 kilowatt hour, this one. Very easy to make. By the way, nobody in India makes those. Everything comes from China itself. So get your SMEs, and I think ASSOCHAM can involve. Third, please, SMEs are very scared. They think they will go out of business, especially the automotive SMEs. You said you have 1,500 acres. You please create an institute to train them. There are only 4 components in electric vehicles, correct? the motor train, the IoT, the motor controller, and of course the battery. A battery, you already have a plan. Create an institute, work with the Niti Aayog, create a training institute for these SMEs, how to go about it. And given that now this influx of make in India and shifting of manufacturing from China to India, I think Telangana, given your decision making speed and your availability of land and everything else, I think you are centrally located. You are in the middle of India almost. I think you focus on those three dedicatedly. I think you can be really the leader. I mean, so that's the kind of suggestion I have. Happy to work, via ASSOCHAM or whatever. I do get involved in things at Mahua in Delhi on the smart city issues and Niti Aayog on electric vehicle. I will be very happy to formulate something and get something going so that a real outcome comes out of seminars like this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, sir, you have something to say, Mr. CJ Karmapur?
Yeah. I think, thanks a lot for these inputs. I think I've noted them down. I think you're absolutely right. There are certain areas where maybe, with your experience, you might have seen that the retrofitment may turn into a bureaucratic nightmare. So definitely we have the option to change the course and improve upon our policy, because that's what we have done. We have created a policy which is a living document, and we have empowered the steering committee to keep on adding as time progresses, because we believe that we didn't have all the answers, and we didn't know how it would shape up. So it was a little bit a daunting task to think how it would shape over the next 10 years. So as part of our steering committee, we do invite members to be part of it as invitee members. I think maybe, I'll work with your team to see if how ASSOCHAM can be part of that, so that they can give us and give the direction, because they usually are privy to more experiences of other states than we do. So sometimes learning it from one member can give us those insights. Yes, I would like to take it up, this particular training institute proposal that you have said, and I want to see how we can take this forward. And if you can help us on with the Niti Aayog, we would love to do it, because I work very closely with various training mechanisms and institutes within Telangana, and I'm also part of some of those forums. And I work also with Task Telangana Academy with for skill and knowledge and so on. Coming to a few other things, I have taken it down. Public bike sharing and also fleet operators. We are working with few fleet operators already and trying to see how we can help them. So current policy could help them, but if they need additional support from the government, we are trying to see. We are making these marriages with our HMRL, which is the Metropolitan Rail Authority, to run some pilot programs with the fleet operators to see how they can use the infrastructure, and working with various government bodies also. So we'll look forward to further and bigger cooperation. But as a step one, two things: how ASSOCHAM can be part of our steering committee and how they could get involved. Two is pursue this training institute which you have suggested. I'll take it from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We will definitely touch base with you to take it further. So now let's move on to the next session, the panel discussion, a roadmap to develop EV market to boost economy. And this has been moderated by Dr. Vinod Surana, who's a co-chairman for ASSOCHAM Southern Region and managing partner for Surana and Surana. So, so before I hand it over the platform to Dr. Vinod Surana, I would like to take the pleasure in fact, introducing him. Dr. Vinod Surana is a managing partner and CEO for Surana and Surana International Autonomy, Chennai. As a qualified from prestigious institutions such as Harvard, Cornell, London School of Economics and Indian Institute of Management, he co-chairs ASSOCHAM Southern Region chairs National Institution of Quality and Reliability Advisory Board, and is a member of Academic Council of prestigious MOP Vaishnav College of Women. Is listed among 100 legal luminaries of India by LexisNexis and is recognized as leading merger and acquisition lawyer by Chambers and Partners. He has led the 11 industry delegation under CII to Southern American and Israel to promote Indian diplomatic, political, and trade interest. He successfully conceptualized and advocated for defense manufacturing corridor in Tamil Nadu and was first non-American to be elected as the president of International Law Students Association in 1999. So Dr. Vinod Surana is a rare combination of successful lawyers, trained mediator, independent director, voice of industry, social worker, academician, law firm CEO, policy advisor, and strategist. So the floor is over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Umaji. Thank you for that introduction. A very warm welcome to this panel discussion on creating of a roadmap to develop the EV market and boost the economy. I'm excited to have a very distinguished panel, policymakers from state investment promotion agencies, think tanks, heads and key drivers at corporates in the EV sector, among others. During this panel discussion, I look forward to hearing their views and perspectives on how they see the electric vehicle segment develop, and more importantly, to have their advice or tips for our MSME members who have for decades been supplying high quality products to the internal combustion engine market. They would like to know what they should do to have as smooth a transition as possible into the electric vehicle segment, where they should invest, how they can access technology, what skills they must develop, what opportunities exist in spaces such as manufacturing, servicing and maintenance, infrastructure development, shared mobility spaces, last mile connectivity, among others. The way I would like to structure this panel discussion is that we have about 5 to 7 minutes for each panelist to present their views, which would be about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and have about 10 to 15 minutes of question answers. Questions are welcome from the panelists to the other panelists. Questions are also welcome from the participants. So having set that framework, I would now like to call upon our first panelist, Mr. Aditya Narayan, who is the Vice President of the Guidance Tamil Nadu, the Industrial Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency in Tamil Nadu, to present his views. As a brief background, Mr. Aditya Narayan has earlier been with the Andhra Pradesh Economic Development Board, where he developed the investment promotion roadmap for the state. He has led ministerial delegations of the state to the World Economic Forum at Davos and has helped attract marquee investments in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. Mr. Aditya Narayan.
Good morning and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. I am Aditya. I lead investment promotion for the state of Tamil Nadu. Very familiar faces here, and it's my pleasure to talk to you about what the state of Tamil Nadu has been doing in the past, what kind of things in the year 2020, especially in a post-COVID resilience framework. And I'd like to talk about what the state is doing to develop a roadmap to boost the economy. If I may request to share my screen, I could run through a small presentation where I could probably explain it.
Sir, I have provided the presenter rights.
Thank you so much. 1 minute. Okay, can you see? Okay, thank you so much. No, 1 minute. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm gonna share you another presentation. My bad. My apologies. Yeah. As you may be aware, Tamil Nadu is ranked one of the top 10 automotive hubs in the world. Around 50% of exports, automobile exports, are from Tamil Nadu. We have an installed capacity to produce one car every 20 seconds and one commercial vehicle every 90 seconds. The state has a strong backward linkages with metal industries, capital equipment, trucking, warehousing, and service parts. The state is also home to major companies like Hyundai, BMW, Daimler, Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi Motors, Ford Motors, Peugeot, Yamaha, and also homegrown companies like TVS Motors and Ashok Leyland. Tamil Nadu is home to the highest number of factories in India, and specifically in terms of the automotive industry, we are home to about 1393 factories producing components, motor vehicles, trailers, semi-trailers in Tamil Nadu. The year 2020 has been favorable to the state of Tamil Nadu in terms of a post-COVID resilience in the economy. We've done favorably well in terms of attracting marquee investments. Today, we rank #1 in the country for post-COVID investments in the country. It is one, I'm not sure if I can use the word hotspot here, but we have been an investment hotspot for this year 2020. Much of those investments have also flown in the automotive and mobility space. In this 2020 itself, we've signed over 2 billion worth of investment interests in 3 phases. We have Daimler and Daimler's auto component subsidiary Dynex. We've signed Mando, BYD, ATC, and Srivaro in the first phase. In the second phase of investments, we've signed MOUs with Hyundai Via, Apollo Tires, LS Automotive, LI Energy, and Greentech. Glad to know Mr. Datta is on this panel. So we've recently signed with Ola Electric, Mahindra, CIE, and Standardine. Apart from signing MOUs with these marquee players, what we have also done is we have a specific auto team with in guidance. The team have reached out to about 150 to 200 players who are into traditional ICE engines to also request them and ask them as to what kind of powertrain and electric mobility plans that they have in the future. We have reached out to about 80% of these companies that I mentioned in the auto component and the OEMs here, and we've specifically requested them to also look at moving towards electric mobility. But what we found out is the majority of the auto component players in Tamil Nadu have already made the shift towards electric mobility. Among these players, what guidance have also done last year is that there are some companies from Germany and there are companies from China who wanted to also partner with the local ecosystem here to develop electric mobility. One such partnership is still in the talks, which I can't reveal. But what we've also assisted is we've assisted Nissan with a company called Sunwoda, and they together are jointly working on battery technology in the state of Tamil Nadu. The deal is done. However, the manufacturing is going to take place by in the third phase of 2021, and we're looking forward to welcoming them to the state of Tamil Nadu. What we're seeing as drivers for for Tamil Nadu as a destination it is already an established automobile hub. It is an emerging electronic hub where we rank number 2 in electronics in the country, and we see a steady link between the automotive of the future becoming an electronics device rather than just being an automobile device. Tamil Nadu's high rate of urbanization at 50% make it a viable destination for sales of motor vehicles. By 2030, we predict that 98 million vehicles will be sold in the state of Tamil Nadu, and I mean, it's a very conservative figure, but we think about 40% of these vehicles will be EV. Currently, we're ranked number 2 in the sale of two-wheelers in the country, but in terms of electric vehicles, our market share is only at 6.4%. So we see a lot of sales, a lot of demand rising because of the high urbanization factors. Of course, as leader in renewable energy, we also stand poised to have synergies and linkages in it being a destination for electric vehicles. To give you a little snapshot, this is the segment-wise auto and auto component manufacturers based in Tamil Nadu. Together with respect to all these, so majority of the companies are already in touch with us for expanding into EV capabilities. For example, if you look at, for example, let's say Valio, for example, or Hanon Systems, for example, or an LS Automotive, for example, they have already, or TVS, for example. So all these companies have approached us for a shift in electric mobility and requested the government for assistance with respect to either incentives or land or ecosystem based incentives, so that they could convert this into they could also move into the electric mobility front. For example, I was also in touch, for example, last week the CEO, the chairman of WABCO had come to our office, and he started explaining about how they have a specific innovation center that works specifically on autonomous vehicles. We also have Caterpillar in talks with us to move into the electric part of earth moving equipment. So we're in talks with a majority of the value chain to see how this particular segment is moving into the electric value chain. However, we are also requesting auto players not to completely move away into electric vehicle, but also maintain traditional manufacturing ecosystems, because tomorrow the state of Tamil Nadu is also poised to become an aerospace and defense cluster. So for aerospace and defense capabilities, we also need the traditional auto expertise of auto OEMs, and this is one aspect where we've suggested auto OEMs to also look at. Next slide, please. Okay, we have a comprehensive electric vehicle policy which was drafted by our department guidance bureau in consultation with major manufacturers in India, abroad, and specifically Tamil Nadu. The target is to attract 7 billion of investments in EV manufacturing, not just to create a comprehensive EV ecosystem, but also to create 1.5 lakh jobs. As of now, what we're seeing is we're seeing Hosur to develop as a manufacturing base because of its proximity to Karnataka, but we're also looking at developing 2 electric mobility parks. One park that will probably come in Chennai, and the other that will come in Coimbatore. There is a association called ASSOCHAM, which is in final stages of doing a feasibility study of that park will come. The park in Coimbatore would be more innovation centric, more R&D centric, whereas the park in Tamil Nadu will cater to lithium-ion battery manufacturing technologies and the manufacturing of electric vehicles. So the objectives of the policy are to create a conducive environment for research institutions, recycle and reuse used batteries, the support for charging infrastructure, we want to create a pool of skilled workforce for EV industry, and we want to create a robust infrastructure. A few startups also are in touch with us. We were actually surprised to understand that there are about 8 or 9 EV manufacturers based in Coimbatore that the government was not aware of them. So we started also talking to the local manufacturing base in Coimbatore to see how can the entrepreneurs from Coimbatore move the manufacturing from ICE engines to powertrain. So that has also worked well for us. One more thing that has also worked for us is that we've signed a we've signed an MOU with the World Economic Forum on advanced mobility to make Tamil Nadu an advanced manufacturing hub. Under the aegis of this advanced manufacturing hub with the World Economic Forum, we're going to have multiple workshops in different levels of mobility, where we kind of prepare a roadmap for the state. I would love to actually have ASSOCHAM and other stakeholders in this panel to actually be part of those workshops, so that they could suggest, advise, and recommend the government on what further impetus can the government do on with respect to the EV front. We have demand side incentives and supply side incentives. For example, we do provide road tax exemption, registration charges waiver, and permit fees waiver. While this in the initial phases is a good ball game altogether, but I think going forward, what we want to do is um, we want to have say apartments have an EV charging station. We also want to assist in three-wheelers to have licenses. So those policy are on the anvil. These are our supply side incentives, where we give about 100%, 15% capital subsidy, 100% electric subsidy, creation of EV parks and vendor ecosystem, and an additional capital subsidy as special incentives to the MSME sector. Because of the EV policy, the EV policy is capped at 50 crores. So we're seeing a lot of startups also moving from clusters like Bangalore to set up their manufacturing base here. We would also look forward to attracting more of lithium-ion battery technologies to the state of Tamil Nadu, as the synergies between electronics and auto are in better tandem when compared to each other. We also have a working committee under the honorable the chief secretary of the state to decide on the enabling infrastructure for electric vehicle and promoting it. One is about setting up charging infrastructures to PPP, charging stations at regular intervals, attracting battery recycling enterprises, and setting up an EV venture fund. So we definitely love to invite more private sector participation in that particular panel, so that there is a interdisciplinary and interdepartmental consensus that comes on how each departments can work together for spearheading EV growth in the state of Tamil Nadu. To give you a little background, Guidance is a nodal investment promotion agency of the state of Tamil Nadu. We invite and facilitate investments in the state of Tamil Nadu. We also handle the single window system within Guidance. We also have a BizBuddy portal where there's a grievance mechanism system, and also we have a land information portal where we assist the electric mobility ecosystem to find out suitable land parcels and ecosystem related infrastructure for rapid growth. Here I conclude my presentation by thanking everyone for this opportunity. I'd be glad to answer any questions with respect to this, but glad to be part of this panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Aditya Narayan. That was a very comprehensive presentation on the position, the enviable position that Tamil Nadu is in. Historically, Tamil Nadu has been a pioneer and it has worked hard to keep its leadership position in the automobile space. Quick question. What are the two threats you see to Tamil Nadu's leadership position in the electric vehicle space? You see competition coming in, you see rising land costs. I mean, what in your opinion, what are the two threats which our state should be wary about?
Okay, so one threat that I genuinely see to a larger extent, not more about competition from states in India, for example, but we see a lot of cutting edge R&D and innovation probably happening in countries like Singapore. For example, we have a very enviable relationship with Hyundai, for example. But the innovation center for electric vehicles was set up in Singapore. We would have wished that they would have probably set up that center here in the state of Tamil Nadu, for instance, where we have an adequate relationship. I think in the EV front, we also want to attract furthermore, investments in R&D and innovation. Uh, One more thing, what the state has done is the state, to be honest, we kind of lagged in attracting, investments in lithium-ion and battery technology. For example, when I was in my previous organization, I'd gone to visit Gujarat, where we've seen Toshiba, Denso, Mitsubishi, and Panasonic already in final talks with their government to set up lithium-ion battery manufacturing units. I think we could have moved a little faster, but I think right now we could probably have more impetus. One more thing, if we have I think we should have a dedicated EV park or cluster at the earliest. I think that will probably go a long way in developing the ecosystem. These are the threats that I generally feel. The pace of we should also request companies to also accelerate the pace of change from moving into ICE to powertrains. So these are the things that I generally see. Let me know what your thoughts on, sir, and how we can probably mitigate these things.
Thank you, Aditya ji. You have been very, very candid in your remarks. Any questions for Mr. Aditya from the panelists, either now or after all the panelists have spoken?
That would be better, but if you have any questions, glad to answer, sir.
Yeah, sure. We'll now go to our next speaker, another star in the Indian corporate world, Mr. R.K. Mishra. He has a phenomenal background. He is an alumnus of the Tokyo University, alumnus of the Kennedy School of Government, Harvard University, convener of the annual Carnegie Global Tech Summit. He is a Global Leadership Fellow from the Aspen Institute, founder of the Center for Smart Cities, co-founder of the largest public bike sharing system, Yulu Bikes. He is a very prominent and often sought after speaker on areas of electric vehicles, smart cities, etc. I would now like to request Mr. R.K. Mishra to please share with us his views and his perspective. Mishra ji.
Thank you, Dr. Vinod. I think appreciate the opportunity to be in this forum, in this panel. And before I start my discussion, I would like to congratulate ASSOCHAM for organizing this and ensuring the participation from industry as well as the policymakers. And I heard the discussion from Telangana team and of course now Tamil Nadu. It's really heartening to see the progress of these states and not only the earnestness with which they are working on this. As Mr. Aditya just said, we were a little late. Karnataka came up with a policy in 2017. And I always keep telling our leaders here that we made the policy, but we didn't even do the pilot. And I can see Tamil Nadu, given its background, has made huge strides, and it's really, really heartening to see that. Ideally, each state should be competing and doing it, but as long as some states are doing, I think good for India and good for this industry, because this is the sunrise industry. India has a real opportunity to be a world leader, both from the demand point of view and the supply point of view. And given with our global solar alliance, our energy, sufficiency, in fact, surplus, I think this is the way to go. So congratulations to the states and congratulations to the ASSOCHAM for organizing this. I would like to comment a little bit on Mr. Aditya's presentation. I think the strategy is very good. Reaching out to the good part about electric vehicle is there are very few players in the world who have the relevant technology. Others are simply buying or borrowing from them. And there are very few things which are needed in an electric vehicle where technology and expertise is required. And these are just 3-4: powertrain, battery, motor controllers, and IoT, essentially. Those are the kind of, and that's not very difficult. So to me, it looks like India has a real opportunity to be a world leader. Of course, we will have to do the catch up with our bigger neighbor who has been at it for very long. But I think we have an opportunity, and surprisingly, and I think it's a very happy coincidence that both states as well as the center are aligned on this. I work very closely with the DHI, Mahua and Niti on these discussions. A lot of it is urban driven. This really makes sense to combine with the policies which we have in the case of urban context. That's why smart city mission and all that. So everywhere I get an opportunity, I try to bring the electric vehicle angle into the urban planning and the policies. And of course, from the Department of Heavy Industries and Niti Aayog, equally important. But real role has to be played by the state. They have to become the magnet to attract these investments, and they have to be the facilitator to ensure that investment, when it comes, it stays. Just give an example of Tamil Nadu. Nissan has been there, and given my background in Japan, I'm also on a track to diplomacy with Japan on technology collaboration from the government of India. I visited Nissan. Nissan has one of the most successful Nissan Leaf electric vehicle in the world, apart from Tesla. And Nissan is an affordable side and very high quality. I have a background in Japan. I lived there 10 years. And I spoke to the top management, and I really was trying to convince them why Nissan India, because Nissan per se is not doing well in India. But electric vehicle could have been, that was like 3-4 years ago. Somehow, that time they were not very excited. I hope with this proactive effort by, Tamil Nadu, they will. And I think Tamil Nadu has huge advantage because of installed capacity. Chennai is a wonderful city with the port. And then Hosur gives them access, one of the largest and most progressive market of Bangalore and Karnataka. So Tamil Nadu, I think, has huge possibility. Telangana, obviously being a small compact state with very quick decision making and having a megapolis like Hyderabad, also has a huge opportunity. Of course, Karnataka is my state where I stay in Bangalore. We do have strengths, and of course we do have weaknesses. So I would imagine that these states will come together. So that's a generic point I would like to say. On specifics, I think China became the powerhouse not just because they're manufacturing. They were not just a supplier; they were also the biggest demand generators. And I think that side our efforts are not really very, and unfortunately that's not entirely in the government domain. But China did very nice playbook by giving subsidies, and not only subsidies. Actually, there are very important levers with the government which government can use. Subsidy is one lever. The other lever is regulation. There are certain things that are very well regulated. I mean, Chennai auto walas, of course, they are famous and infamous for other things. But then, for example, if they decide that, okay, in next 5 years, every single auto in Chennai will be electric. And I can assure you, you will have a huge electric auto setup, and you have the companies. How about city buses, for example? I have school buses. Let me just give you an example of school buses. Ashok Leyland. In fact, I was trying to introduce, Bangalore has around 15,000 school buses. Now, school buses are low-hanging fruit. First of all, they run only 30 to 40 kilometers per day. Now, 30 to 40 kilometers per day means battery size doesn't have to be very big. And they do 10-20 kilometers in the morning, 10-20 kilometers in the evening, and they're standing rest of the time, either in the school compound or somewhere where charging can be provided. Battery size is less, charging space is there, charging time is there. So I think our state government, and this is sector which is regulated, the state government should be working. In fact, Tamil Nadu should be telling Ashok Leyland, listen, all school buses in the next 10 years are going to go electric. Now please produce. In fact, there's not a single school bus in this country which is electric. So while we are working on the policy on supply side, if you don't create the demand, and the government has very few levers actually. In private sector, if I am an individual buyer, I may decide to buy an electric car, electric diesel car, or petrol car. I mean, you have no control. By giving some subsidy, I get motivation, but there is no compulsion. And if you say that, okay, fine, every year 10% of the buses are going to convert it to electric school buses, fine, it's great, because the kids will be moving in a cleaner bus. And these are mostly run by private operators, who potentially, given the right incentive, will go for it. There could be a funding mechanism. There could be essentially the leasing mechanism where the governments can create. He's talked about the EV fund. Yes, EV fund for startups is great idea, venture fund. But how about EV fund to help finance the electric buses? Correct? That can be done. The state governments have the financing agencies. So those are the kind of things. And the life is coming from the very high quality vendors like Ashok Leyland and some other companies like BYDs and all that, which are going to be in Tamil Nadu. And if one of the state government takes this initiative, I think it will go pretty far. Obviously, initially there will be resistance by the existing players. Nobody wants to make an extra investment. But if you are able to manage through convincing as well as through regulation, and I'm sure this will go a long way. Please look at the low-hanging fruit on the demand side. Supply side is fine, but only when there is a demand, then only the supply also will come online. If people believe that, and by the way, China started with buses, and I'm sure you are aware, the first focus was on the buses. They went into the sector where the government could control. And eventually it went into the private sector and everywhere else. Now, coming to, for example, cities, and that's why a smart city concept. Our cities are choked. Luckily, the government of India has a policy of putting together metro in 25 cities. Now, metro will give you the mid-mile connectivity. Suppose in Chennai's example, you are going from city center to the airport. Now, you're not exactly living next to the station, wherever you are going, or on the way in between. From a station to your home or your office could be half a kilometer, could be 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. Where is the last mile connectivity? Most of our metro stations have not even planned for that. They're planned for individual parking, which is useless. Because if I go in the morning, park my car, whole day my park is occupying that space, which is not available to anybody else, or my bike. I think the parking at the metro station should be reserved only for public, the shared mobility. And shared mobility, potentially, you should encourage not the performance bikes or not the performance automobiles. Encourage electric-based two-wheelers and three-wheelers. And there'll be fleet operators which will come in. They will buy in hundreds of thousands. And suddenly, you have a demand creation there as well. The demand creation can happen for two-wheelers and three-wheelers through shared mobility. Demand creation can happen for buses through, for example, your school buses and your city transport buses. And for Ola and Uber, what stops government of Tamil Nadu, government of Karnataka, government of Telangana telling, listen, Ola and Uber you are running, why not put 10% of your car fleet? And these people have ability to find ways to finance these. 10% of fleet should be every year progressively, over 10 years, please go all electric. So use regulation as a lever to create the demand, and use facilitation as a lever to create supply. And if you do these both, because supply alone will not come unless there is a demand. It's all market driven. You can tell anybody, I'll give you subsidy, there is no demand, what do I do with it? My suggestion to the state governments will be, please use, you are the government, you have the lever. You have lever of regulation and facilitation. Use facilitation on the supply side, use regulation on the demand side. Private individuals in a democracy, you can't use those levers because that is my own free will whether I decide to buy or not. But there are certain sectors where the government has a role to play. So I will go further when there are specific examples, and I gave my comments in case of Telangana presentation as well. My request and suggestion would be, please use both levers, demand generation and supply facilitation. Demand generation through regulation and supply facilitation through incentives. So this is what I would like to say, and I'll rest my presentation at this stage.
Thank you, sir. That was a very, very practical suggestion you have given to the state government. Let us see which state is off the block first in creating demand. A quick question, sir. In this roadmap to develop the EV market, what are your views on last mile connectivity? Or also, what are your views on the pain points, sir?
So, last mile connectivity comes in the context of urban India. Most of the cities in this country still don't have any public transport. So, concept of last mile, every mile is only mile. But for example, 10 cities in the country which have population in the excess of 4 million to 20 million. They have been promised metro, and around 13 cities metro is running. Now that's a lever which Government of India has, and I am working with NOVA Secretary Mr. Mishra is very, very proactive. He has written to all the metros that they have to provide dedicated space, and Delhi Metro has taken a lead. Every metro station, they are providing a space for shared mobility. So for metro also, as I mentioned in the previous presentation, Delhi Metro is almost the best run and best used metro, but their per hour usage is only 9,000 passengers. In any city, in any country, for example, Hong Kong, which is very efficient, has 18,000. Tokyo is at a different level because their network is so intense and so dense. They have around 20 to 25,000. Peak time they have 25,000. Now, if India runs metro at 9,000 PCH capacity, no metro will ever break even. It is an investment which is being made, and if we don't get return out of it, at some point of time, government will run out of money, and the investment will not be made further because already now central government is very hesitant in sanctioning money to any metro unless cities and states can justify that this will make money. Now, private sector people will say, okay, do PPP. PPP, why will they come if they don't make money? Now, metro guys, whether it is DMRC or Chennai Metro or Hyderabad Metro or Bangalore Metro, can make the metro. But what happens beyond metro is with the city and the state. Municipal authority. Municipal authority needs to provide for the last mile connectivity. Metro station, metro will give the space. But how about near my office? How about near my apartment? They should be having the policy for allowing public shared mobility parking spots. Chennai has done beautiful in terms of widening the footpaths, making them walkable and all that. But walking, you can go 500 meters. But if you have to go 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers metro station, and you are rushing for office, you need a public, transport. And public transport can't be the bus. Because from metro to your place would be just 500 meters. There's no bus route. So, for example, Bangalore is doing it very successfully. They've got a public bike sharing policy. They have around 10,000 electric vehicles. By the way, the largest electric fleet in the country is run by this company. And Delhi Metro has done it. Unfortunately, Delhi municipal authorities are very, very, of course, Delhi being a bureaucratic capital as well, are very slow. But Chennai can take a lead, for example. Correct? Hyderabad can take a lead. Bangalore has done it. In fact, we had to really push them hard and then did it. And given that I had access to the decision makers and policy makers, and we worked together and we managed to do it. So that's where the first question of your last mile connectivity demand generation. And then when you have this, then manufacturing will come out anyway, because right now everybody is importing from China, because nobody makes those vehicles. These are low cost vehicles. They don't require helmet. They don't require registration. They don't require driving license. They have been approved by Government of India under GSTR number, and it is approved by ICAT. ARI has approved it. So these are ready. Only thing is nobody makes in India. Now Bajaj is going to make 2021. They are coming with those. I think most of the companies are only looking at making 1.5 lakh, 2 lakh motorcycles. Who's going to buy? How many people will buy those 1.5, 2 lakh? It will become like symbolic. So I think focus on low cost two-wheelers, low speed rather, and focus on three-wheelers. And that's where the government can facilitate this. So this is what I think my first reactions would be. I mean, I can ask specifics. I can answer specifics because, I day in, day out.
Thank you, sir. You have given many pointers, a lot of food for thought. We will ponder over it and maybe come back to you and to other panelists with questions while we hear the next speaker. I would like to call upon Mr. B.C. Datta, expert in taxation and corporate affairs. He was with the Hyundai Motor Company as the Vice President of Corporate Affairs for many, many years before he recently joined Ola Electric as its VP for Corporate Affairs. Over his career, which started with BPL, Sanyo, Toyota Kirloskar Motors, Hyundai Motors, and now Ola Electric, Mr. B.C. Datta has worked a lot with central government agencies, trade bodies, etc. Incidentally, he is also on the Tamil Nadu government panel for electric vehicles and the Kerala panel for hydrogen fuel cells. Mr. B.C. Datta, we would like to hear your views on shared mobility and how you see the whole electric vehicle market develop. Over to you, sir. Mr. B.C. Datta? Okay, I think we just lost him. We will, there he is, yes. Sir, we are not able to hear you.
Mr. Datta, you have to unmute, please.
I think he is not unmuted and also video is not on.
So you can speak.
I think we will go to the next speaker, and maybe by that time the technical team can sort out the issues. I would like to request. Mr. Varun Chaturvedi, the founder and CEO of Voltic Charging, to please share his views. A quick background of Mr. Varun Chaturvedi. As the promoter and founder of Voltic CEO, he has played a very important role in the rollout of the electric vehicle market. They have established over 120 charging points across cities like Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, Bangalore, Mumbai, and Pune. Mr. Varun Chaturvedi, are you with us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I think there is some background. Yeah. So thanks. It's my pleasure to be here and to be part of this panelist. Quickly going through the discussion which is going on, 2 points which I really find very much useful are pinpointing the EV market. First point, Mr. Mishra mentioned about the demand, because ultimately in any business viability is totally dependent on the demand, and the business is going to be sustainable only where there is a demand and economic viability. And second thing, which is very much discussed everywhere, Mr. Venki mentioned about CRC, cost, range, charging time, because most of the current available EVs, either two-wheeler, either three-wheeler, or four-wheeler on the low voltage side, because in four-wheeler, there are two segments. One is low voltage side, up to 100 volt, specific Tigor or E-Veritos. Then there are high voltage EVs like new Nexon, MG, Kona, and all those things. So the charging time is totally different for both segments. And because, as mentioned, demand. So demand is currently coming from the fleet segment, because they see the economic viability, because they have daily run of 200, 250 kilometers. So they have a fair business case to switch on the EV. And also there is a mention by Mr. Mishra that, yeah, we cannot push from the personal segment, because personal segment definitely going to adopt EVs as per their need. When they really feel either they have to switch from their old vehicles and they are going planning for new vehicle. So they definitely they will go for comparing. So comparing the cost, then the charging time, and most important, the technology and the comfort, which nowadays every day increasing, and our customers are demanding. So that is the segment where I believe it is going to happen by, by 2024, 25, good numbers of vehicle you can see on the roads on the personal segment. Since I come from the charging side, so charging everywhere discussed, it is a challenging, and lots of people are complaining, discussing charging infrastructure is not available. But same time, developing a charging infrastructure in a country like India, where practical challenges are quite high in terms of getting infrastructure developed. If it is a new infrastructure, then it is totally a challenging. Getting the location, in the major cities, it is quite challenging. Then the electrical infra, because all the charging station, most of the public places charging station going to be a fast charging station. So we require good amount of power, minimum 80 to 100 kilowatt. I'm talking about fast chargers. Swapping also required same, kind of infrastructure, because bulk chargers are going to there. So if somebody or any company is willing to invest on this and put effort on that, so definitely they require a demand to drive the whatever they are putting effort, investment, and all those things. So there we, as a Voltic, come with a different approach. We start putting our charging stations by tying up with the fleet operator, so that we can ensure demand and make this business sustainable, viable for a longer term, rather than putting too many machines and nobody is utilizing, because it's all our electrical component, electronic component. So with the time, there is a chances of getting deteriorations and dust and environmental issues. You know that what is the condition in the India. So as I mentioned, the demand is coming from the fleet operator. So we are tying up with all the fleet operator, but the challenge is coming, as mentioned by Mr. Venki, cost, range, charging time. Existing vehicles having, very high charging time, and the range is quite less. So we are developing these at strategic locations. So strategic locations are going to play a very crucial role, rather than putting charging station where any user, either it's a fleet operator or a personal user, if he need to come only for the charging, it is not going to make a sense. We have to provide them a charging so that he can do with charging some other things, either it is a hotel, mall, either offices, either parking slot, something like that, highway hotels. So we, as of now, developing most of the charging station to the corporate premises, so that employ fleet transportation who are early adoption user of EV fleets, and most of the EV fleets you are seeing in Bangalore, in Delhi, major metro cities. So this is a good to discuss about the demand, and especially either through government subsidies, either through government push to the entities who are under government, or the fleet operator where they can be facilitated. So demand factor is really going to make a sense. Now the second things which we discussed for MSME and what are the requirement. So of course there are lots of component wise discussion already happened. Existing MSMEs or whatever the businesses are available, they can easily switch because there are lots of options available. Either it is on the skill side, lots of training going on the EV charging infrastructures from MSMEs, from some private startups, they are coming in skill educations, and existing installer, whatever they are right now, solar installer, or they are doing any kind of electrical installation, they can easily do the charging station installation, can come as a charging operator as well. So opportunities are available, and there this might take time because every transition take time. Most of the time I have seen we are start comparing with the European market, US market. So it took time to them to reach such, milestone. They started 2007, 2008. We, if we see as a policy wise, all the policy came 2017, 18, 19. So within 2, 3 years, we don't expect a good number of transition. So it will take time, but yeah, we are in a good shape, and the future is of course going to for the EVs. People are interested. We are getting good number of response, interest from individuals, from businesses. So this is my thought process on this. I think if anybody have any questions, I would like to answer on that. Yeah.
Thank you, Arunji. I know we are running out of time, but we cannot afford to miss any of our. Sorry, Mr. Datta, are you online?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm on.
We are running out of time, but I cannot afford to miss any of our star speakers. So I would like to request Mr. Datta to please present his views. And then we have the star closing batsman, Mr. Dattatreya Gaur from Robert Bosch. So before we go on to Mr. Dattatreya Gaur, I would like to request Mr. BC Datta to present his views and perspectives.
Yeah. Good afternoon, the panelists and also the viewers, whoever is attending this session. Thanks to ASSOCHAM, definitely very, very good, topic and the subject. Subject and the initiative taken on this. First and foremost, that there's lack of facilities for manufacturing, as Mr. rightly put it. There are all the three parts. He spoke about two parts. One, I'll talk about the third element also. What we need to presently now, we have to build our manufacturing capacities. Definitely, that is a need of the hour. And post that, of course, as Mr. put it, the government support is required. Presently, all that the state governments are talking about is, the attracting the investment in the manufacturing. Of course, though there is a lot of initiative taken by various states on the infrastructure for the charging, but still it is, not taking off the way it should have been. So that is one requirement definitely one needs to look at. The other thing that one has to see is on the training and the creating the manpower to address the One is manufacturing, other is servicing. Now there is also MSME that we are talking about. Mr. Suran also is touching upon the MSMEs. There's a fear among them that they lose business or they will go out of the whole business if the electric vehicle comes in, because there are fewer parts and IC engines will all go away, all that. But my assurance or my assessment of the whole industry is that this will take at least about 8 or 10 years, number one. Number two, all the automobiles, whether 2, 3, 4 and commercial vehicles, all that they are running right now will still be running for at least another 10 years, because whoever has bought can use this vehicle for at least 10 more years. But from the government side, we are also making. Now I'll touch upon what government needs to do or needs to look at is on the consumption side, which Mr. made it very strong thing. So in this, what we need to do is to make sure that we not just creating the facilities for the manufacture, we should also make sure that the customers come and then buy. How do we make this? Is it by way of making sure that either by way of compulsion or by way of a policy and a procedure saying that this has to be, a particular area has to be electric vehicle. For example, the food delivery apps and a lot of now apps are running, and there is also some delivery schemes are there. So in all these cases, for example, couriers, so all these cases we must make sure that the electric vehicles are being used. So many of these operators, food delivery system, they all use the two-wheeler only. So we should insist that it has to be electric vehicle. So that brings this particular electric vehicle, there will be a boost for the consumption. Added to that, now on the last mile delivery also, Mr. Surana was asking Mr. Mishra, there from the point where either maybe it could be a bus terminus or it should be a metro station, or it could be any point where most of the people are getting down and then they are trying to reach the nearest their home or to their the nearest metro station. So all that has to be through the electric vehicle. So with that, what will happen? The three-wheeler and four-wheeler electric four-wheeler will also get a impetus or the boost or the encouragement from the government to make sure that there are consumption, there are facilities to ensure that consumption is going up and consumption also people are using. Environmentalists always, say that electric vehicles should be done at the earliest and all that, but definitely this would take, in our view of whatever we have observed in the industry, would take time, possibly 10 years time. That is what even Niti Aayog, everybody has been saying that by 2030 we should have 40 to 50%. In our view, this will be more from the industry observation. This percentage will definitely be higher than 40% from the way things are going. From the manufacturing side, one another request with the government is to encourage battery manufacturing, which is definitely a major component of all the electric vehicles, and this has to definitely be manufactured here so that the cost comes down and it becomes more and more affordable to the customer. And then one another point is that the government of India has been talking about the replacing these vehicles, older vehicles with the new vehicle that is environment friendly. Like for example, now we are using all IC engines are all Euro 6 vehicles. So what we should, the government should preferably do is whoever is changing the vehicle, he should take the electric vehicle from scrappage of vehicle is proposal is going on. So in this, they can necessarily put that the vehicle that he is buying should be an electric vehicle with which an additional subsidy can be offered, so that the customer who is buying, he will be switching from the electric vehicle, from the IC engine to the electric vehicle, which will definitely encourage, which will definitely increase the number that we are now talking about. Definitely, it will be a good proposal. And also, we, as a manufacturers, we definitely feel that these kind of encouragement from the government on all these areas will help to increase the number. Presently, of course, 1.75 lakh vehicles sold in the country in the whole year, whereas the capacities are being created is very huge. So we believe that in the coming years, with the support of the government and also the public, whoever is buying the vehicle, they can shift to the electric vehicle, will ensure that this number goes up, and also make sure that the environment, top 20 worst cities in terms of environment are in India. Definitely, we all together make efforts to improve that. So I'll take any questions that are there, because I am cutting short because the presentations made by Mishra and the earlier presentations, I think, covered most of the areas. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Datta. Now I would like to call upon our last speaker, Mr. Dattatreya Gaur, who is the Vice President at the Robert Bosch Engineering and Business Solutions Private Limited. He has an electronics engineering degree from MNIT Jaipur and has done his executive management program from IIM Bangalore. He has been with Robert Bosch for over 25 years, and during this tenure he has worked and lived in India, Germany and the USA. Before his tenure at Robert Bosch, he was with BEL for about 6 years. I would like to call upon Mr. Dattatreya Gaur to please present his views and his perspective. Mr. Gaur.
Thank you, Dr. Surana. Thank you to all the co-panelists and all the good presentations, eminent presentations that we saw today. I'm really thankful to ASSOCHAM to get this a chance to share my thoughts. I work for Bosch, and my focus today would be on technology. So as Bosch, we deliver a lot of high-tech parts to the automotive world. We are the world's largest automotive parts supplier, and we supply these technologies to all global OEMs, in different segments. When it comes to electrification, we cover not only the different technologies, but we also cover a very wide spectrum of vehicles. Right from a bicycle, electric bicycle, we make systems all the way to two-wheelers, to three-wheelers, four-wheelers, and to light commercial vehicles, heavy commercial vehicles. And in terms of technology, that means from light electromobility, 48-volt systems, or even less, 12-volt, 48-volt systems, to all the way up to 800-volt systems. An interesting thing about electric vehicles is that when it comes to technology, we actually have we get some images in our mind, right? When we think of an electric vehicle, at first, very high-tech cars like Tesla or equivalent of that, Nissan Leaf was mentioned, they come up. And when we talk about technology that goes into making this, probably I'm just visualizing this is my own picture, so please bear with me. But we immediately think of maybe a three-wheeler with lead-acid battery that charges 10 rupees for city mobility. Looks like a jugaad solution more than a high-tech solution. So I was really sad 4 years back when we started setting up a team for electro mobility in India, that I had a chance to visit most of the prestigious institutes and universities, research institutes and universities in India. Let me not name them, but the message universally was that, hey, what is left for research in electromobility? Pictures that I saw were, some jugaad sort of three-wheelers that were done, and all the professors were so proud, and they said, this is over. Yeah, that poor state of technology was actually an eye-opener for us. And today I had a presentation, but I won't be able to share my presentation right now. Maybe offline I would do that. But what I would like to highlight is that in 2019, 2020, if we look at electric vehicle, comparing it with a normal vehicle, I think roughly 30% of the cost, 35% of the cost is for powertrains. And good news is that we are there in electric vehicles. Yeah? The bad news is that of that 35%, total vehicles cost of 30% is still the battery. Yeah? And then we are talking of powertrains, which means all electric motors, the power electronics, coolant circuits, and everything, including transmission. That is roughly about 7% of the total cost of the car. So if you look at that, yes, of course, batteries is still one area where a lot of research has to go on, and we have to bring down the costs significantly so that these vehicles can actually fly off. But miracles have actually happened already with technology on the powertrain side. We started with inverters, converters, then we have subsystem integrations, which means that we have now integrated units where we have the electric motors, we have the, we call them e-axle. So if you get a chance, have a look at that. We have transmission system, electric motor and power electronics, all encapsulated into one. And the vision of this business unit is something equivalent of that. If you want to throw your IC engine in your existing car, you could actually buy it off Amazon. Of course, it's not yet available, but you could in future buy such integrated devices, engines, and convert the whole powertrain. Now, what has also happened that in about last 10 years, we have packed almost 7 times more, 700% more power density into the powertrains of electrification. And this, by me, this is real technology. I would also like to address few more topics that when it comes to electric vehicles, I think one of the biggest topics is safety. All of us at some point of time in our life would have touched electric wire and have felt electric shock. Can you imagine that at homes we get only 240 volts, but in the cars we get at least 350 up to all the way to 600 volts. I think this is safety critical. Yeah, they could catch fire. The charging, discharging happens and generates quite a lot of heat, and therefore we require a lot of high-tech technology, even in the components. I'm talking of silicon carbide technology, which is called the wideband semiconductors. So there is a lot of research spectrum which is widely available in front of us, and at this point of time, I take this opportunity to invite attention of all the technocrats and especially the research and academia in the country, that we have to stand up to this opportunity and grab it by both hands if we really want to excel. Thank you very much, and I'm open to questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dattatreya Gaur. You did mention, you touched upon an important topic, which was also a question which I had noted down. Many of the educational institutions are yet to get into the depth of electric vehicles. So in your view, what is it that educational institutions must do, or what is it that the government must do as a policy-making body to develop the skills required for the electric vehicles market?
An excellent question, Dr. Surana. I think this is an important aspect urgently what we have to do is actually get our top institutions and the ministries together and then kickstart some focused activities. We had some programs called car programs. We have very specific programs to sort of increase the. Sorry, I'm hearing a echo, and that is disturbing a little bit. But I think government and industry and academia have to come together and urgently focus on uh, uh, initiating research and actually taking it up as a topic for research. We need new technology.
I think Mr. R.K. Mishra has worked on this and had made some presentations. So, Mishra ji, your views on this skill development?
So I actually missed that part in my presentation or rather discussion. I think this is something which is crucial because I mean, from the ASSOCHAM point of view also you present MSMEs, and I also heard MSMEs being anxious and worried, and I think in the end they will either end up doing some jugaad as was mentioned by Mr. Kumar, or they will essentially go and do some old technology transfer from some other country, China or otherwise. Can you please mute? Yes, please. Still I hear. Mr. Datta, are you on remote, please?
Oh yeah. This is a point I just wanted.
No, Mr. Datta, can you mute? I am not finished, please. Sorry, thank you. So I think on skill development, two things. One, it has to be initiated for the industry, but industry can add value like Bosch can come together along with the agencies from the state and Niti Aayog. I requested the gentleman from Telangana state. They have given a space for 15 park. An institute for training, skill development and training should be created. The country has to leapfrog, and some of the institutions of higher education like IIT, Chennai is doing a battery technology testing and all this stuff. They need to be associated with it. It can sit in their own premises or it can be outside, but a focus effort is needed. Otherwise, ecosystem will not develop. We may do jugaad technology, or we may borrow or lease technology from other places. The skill development for SMEs is beyond technology. They are right now totally not aware or even scared. So I think ASSOCHAM can take a role and play a significant role in this, and that will be a meaningful outcome of this kind of seminar as well. Proposal should be sent, maybe with the collaboration of ASSOCHAM, one of the state bodies, and Niti Aayog will be more than happy. Whenever I spoke with them, they are very open to any of this. And I guess money should also be available in some pockets. This can be taken up if we make an effort. I think maybe ASSOCHAM can take a lead and see which state is more, willing, has some money and a space. I think this could be an important aspect which will help a great deal.
Thank you, sir. I would like to know if Mr. Venkatraj has anything to say on this, the need for skill development in developing the EV market. Venkatraj ji.
Thank you, Surana ji. I think it's been my pleasure to listen to not only technocrats, strategy thinkers, and the decision makers from the government. Thank you for the opportunity. On the skill development, we are still doing it in pockets, is my opinion. We may have to integrate everything. ASSC was instituted with that purpose, but we need to go deep into the SMEs and MSMEs. So my suggestion is to develop a policy for EV EV skill development as a sub-document to the EV policy. This is one. Second thing is, I'm talking about the university grid some time back. So, or there is NPTEL, there is SA India, and there is ACMA. So there are different agencies operating in different spheres. So we could integrate this in one initiative is my thinking. If I can take 3 more minutes, I think there is a question from Meghna Jain.
Yes.
Can I go ahead and answer that, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. The question for everybody is, this is Meghna Jain, and we at KOTRA, that is Korean Trade Promotion Organization, New Delhi, are trying to create interest of Korean companies into EV component market in India. What suggestion would you like to give to Korean manufacturers interested in exploring this market, basically on components and battery chargers? Good question, Magna. I have 2 suggestions. One is we can have a circuit tool. It looks like a management paradigm, but with ASSOCHAM and SA India, possibly we could do select the component manufacturers, SME, tier 1 suppliers, MSME of the components and battery chargers and connect them, albeit virtually. So this is one suggestion. We could do it within the next 2 months. The second one, Jain, is to get specific questions from them. See, this is very generic. Your question is very, very at a high level. If they would like to connect to a particular component, say a motor manufacturer or a specific battery charger, then I think there are enough avenues between ASSOCHAM or SA India or ACMA or CII to explore that. I think a tight interface with these associations will help. I hope I've answered your question. I'm available for any further question. Over to you, Dr. Vinod Surana.
Mr. Surana, one is on the skill development. Now, I also want to inform that the Tamil Nadu government has started this thing along with SEPCOT support. One is in Sriperumbudur, which is coming up. There's a one excellent setup where even the incubation center also they are doing it. They can, even any startup idea somebody has got, a student has got, he can also approach them and do it. One at the Sriperumbudur, other one is going to start in Hosur. So these kind of setup in all the other states, in major cities or hubs will help. Automobile hubs will definitely help to improve the skill and also do some R&D in this area, which will definitely create a greater impetus for the industry for the mobility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Datta. There are many questions which would like to be asked, but we have really run out of time. I would like to draw this session to close.
So there is one more question from a student. Yes. He is a pre-final year student in mechanical engineering. He would like to know, is there any company for EV training for the 3rd year? This is student's inquiry. Can anybody? Yeah. Yes, sir, please.
There are many, because of paucity of time, whoever it is, I would urge you to talk to SA India or visit SA India website. There are collegiate clubs who does this. There are private firms. We can take it offline. We can approach it.
Yeah. So, Umaji, can we close the session now?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I would like to thank the panelists. Very, very insightful. Gave a lot of food for thought. I believe many of the participants have not only got points, but also take home some implementable suggestions. Thank you very much for spending a Saturday morning with us. Now I would like to request Uma Nair to please propose the hearty vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. In fact, there's a good feedback also from the participants. It was a very insightful, interesting session. And a very, I think, powerful, packed session, good inputs from all the dignitaries for today's webinar. So I would like to, on behalf of ASSOCHAM, I take the pleasure in thanking all the speakers for the day, for in fact being a second Saturday, taking your valuable time and coming over here and doing this program. So thank you very much. Okay, and I would like to give a special thanks to Dr. Vinod Surana, because it was his initiative, and it was in fact he had given a very good support for us to execute this program. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So I would request all the participants to share your feedback through email to umayasnair@assocham.com. If you have any questions also towards the speakers, you can put it to me so that I can forward it to them. So thank you for all your valuable time, and thank you for your participation. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Umar Nair. One suggestion is, if
Thank
you
you, sir.
circulate among the panelists the email ID and mobile number, we can tighten this network. That's a request to Surana ji. Thank you so much.
Sure, sir.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.